Welcome to Nugg Talk.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Nugg Talk, a weekly podcast where we talk about everything going on in the NBA, specifically with your Denver Nuggets. I'm your host, Loki, and with me again is my co-host, Phil. Phil, how you doing?
I'm doing so good. How are you today?
Doing pretty good. I mean, you got fucked up, apparently, but I'm doing good.
We don't need to talk about that.
We wanted to record, and then you're like, I'm too drunk. Yes, freaking dummy.
Shit happens.
Shit does happen. But we're back. The draft happened. We got Bol Bol.
Bulbasaur.
we got everyone we needed, I guess. But yeah, we got shit to talk about. The first thing to talk about was we were correct in one of our predictions on our very first episode. It's like we spoke it into existence.
Go us, but also fuck.
I mean, it was pretty obvious. But Conley went to the Jazz. He got traded there over the weekend. He was included in a trade for Jay Crowder, Grayson Allen, Kyle Korver, and I think like 2 draft picks that obviously aren't going to be probably that good because the Jazz are going to be in the playoffs for the foreseeable future. But it happened. He's now there. He said bye to the Grizzlies. They got Ja. It was basically written that was going to happen.
We knew Conley was going to get traded. It just kind of sucks that it's to, again, another team in our division.
Yeah, I know. Our division is insanely stacked with star players, but it is what it is. Obviously, they're going to be tougher to play. I think they're going to be one of the top defensive teams in the league now, but it wasn't like they weren't already one of the top defensive teams, but I mean, it does make it harder for Jamal to bust some ass in Utah.
One plus is that Ricky Rubio kind of always owned the Nuggets the last couple of years while he was been either in Minnesota or on the Jazz. So at least there's that.
Yeah, but who knows where he's going? He's a free agent.
Yeah, I'll probably go on the fucking Thunder or something.
Yeah, like watch him just go to like the Trailblazers or something. I don't know. Something could happen. But yeah, so Mike Conley's gone. Grind Grizzlies are forever over. RIP to that. That was a cool team, but everyone's gone there. It's completely over. So, and doesn't look like they're in a rebuild. It looks like they're in like our type of rebuild where they're like not accepting it, but like it's coming.
We never had the second pick in the draft either, though.
True, they did. They get Ja. But yeah. So, what do you think about him being on Utah? How it affects us, basically?
I mean, when a player of Mike Conley's caliber comes into your division, it's never a good thing, but I still think we're a pretty evenly matched team with them. It was a pretty even matchup this season. I'm sure it's going to continue to be because our division is just ridiculously competitive, so we're just got to prepare for that as Nuggets fans.
Yeah, it's stupid competitive, but I mean, that series was always really hard. I mean, last year, my opinion on it is if we played in the playoffs, we probably would have lost just because they did have the year of experience and we didn't.
It's true.
They, for some reason, really hate us. Like, I don't like them either, but they really hate us. Like, their fans really hate us. Everyone hates us.
The Four Corners rivalry.
I mean, I guess, but, like, the Rocky Mountains are ours. So, like, it's in our logo. I'm just saying, that is a possibility. But, yeah, he's over there. I think it obviously helps them in the playoff situation, but I still think that if everyone develops well, will be a better team. It just depends on if Jamal can actually guard. Comes down to a lot of that.
There's a lot of things Jamal needs to improve this year. But talent-wise, we are probably the most talented team in our division now. But obviously talent has to pay off for that to mean anything. So
and they got a lot of talent too. Like I said, everyone in our division, there's
talented.
2 stars on every team now. I mean, I'm gonna say Jamal's the star. He's like getting there.
He's right there.
But like, there's 2 stars on every team. We have Jokic and Jamal. Utah has Conley and Mitchell and technically Gobert. Portland has CJ and Dame, and then Oklahoma has Paul George and what's his name? Goddamn, Russell Westbrook. Minnesota has not kind of Wiggins and Towns. I still don't like Wiggins.
Yeah, but
that's the worst one out of all of them.
Just wait. There might be another star coming to Minnesota at some point. So
I mean, I don't know if D'Angelo goes there, but we'll get there maybe.
Get there.
But yeah, so that was the first thing that went on before the draft started. They wanted to get a head start because everyone knew the first 3 picks were going to be Zion, Ja, and then RJ. And it was Zion, Ja, and then RJ. which I think, yeah, it makes sense. Zion's without a doubt the number one pick. If you don't pick him, it's just you're doing bad for your team, but also bad for your ticket sales because he's gonna get ticket sales.
Like even if he's not that good, he's gonna bring the circus to town. So
yeah, he's gonna get fans in there. They're already there. I saw someone holding a sign that said he's better than AD already, and I was like, okay, New Orleans is delusional, but
y'all need to chill. But
and they got a good team. David Griffin went on a rampage to get a lot of players from trade, so we'll get into that later as well. And then Ja, obviously, he made the most sense. If you're gonna move on from Conley, you need a new starting point guard, and again, he has a lot of resemblance to Russell Westbrook type of play. Very explosive. He's the only guy who had like a triple double in NCAA tournament, which is crazy.
He was ridiculous. I mean, that team's starting to stockpile some talent. They got JJJ.
Yeah, they got him. They got Ja. They have the power forward. What was his name?
Jaren Jackson Jr.?
Yeah, Jaren Jackson. Yeah, you said that. They also drafted Brandon Clark, who I really liked, and I wish the Nuggets picked up. But again, get into that later. And they just got a lot of good pieces where I said that's why I don't think they're officially going to go into a rebuild yet. But I do think that they are like in the middle point like we used to be when we had Ty Lawson and Kenneth Faried in there. And then they're like, okay, now we'll go into a rebuild.
Yeah, they're right on that fringe.
Because I don't think they're going to keep Cal Korver and Jay Crowder. I think halfway through next season they'll probably waive them, and those guys will become free agents in the middle of the year for people to pick up at the middle of the season after the trade deadline.
Yeah.
So I do think that's going to happen. But and then the third pick, RJ to the Knicks. If the Knicks didn't pick RJ, I think New York would have exploded.
Yeah, that's true. I was so shocked when they didn't boo. It was a surprise for me.
Yeah, I know. For once, they were actually happy.
They actually cheered.
But if they don't boo, that means he's not going to be good. They booed Porzingis, and he was good.
That's true. RJ's confirmed.
I mean, we'll see. But he was really happy to be in New York. I just want to say this up front right now. If I'm the Pelicans, you start now to make sure that they don't team up together in New York. It's already going to be a thing that's going to be
discussed.
That's like already a thing where I could see these three, him, Cam, and RJ all pull LeBron, Chris Bosh, and Wade in the near future once they're not off of this first rookie contract, off of the contract after they sign from this one. I could very much see them try to team up in New York if none of them have championships or are on basically good teams at that point. So if you're the Pelicans, make sure that doesn't happen. I mean, for us, it really doesn't matter, but like I would prefer he goes to the East, so maybe make sure it happens.
Yeah,
but
Pelicans, keep doing what you're doing. All your stars are gonna leave.
Just know that that's gonna happen, and that's gonna be in talks for a long, long time. And then we'll go through where you just want to do some winners and losers of the draft. We'll start off with winners. Phil, who do you think was one of the winners of the NBA draft this year?
My biggest winner this year is definitely the Atlanta Hawks. They picked up DeAndre Hunter, who I think is going to be a really good player. And they also picked up Jackson Hayes from Texas, who I don't think a ton of people know about, but not Jackson Hayes. I'm sorry. They picked up Cam Reddish.
They got Cam Reddish.
That was the Pelicans. I'm sorry. That's my next winner. But Cam Reddish, he's talented. He kind of had a bad season at Duke, but he was also the third option on that team. So
yeah, I agree with you. I think the Hawks definitely won. Made trades that made sense for them right now. They have a really good young core. They have Trae Young. They have that Hooter guy. I can't say his name. He's really good at shooting. Yeah, that guy. He's really good at shooting. They have, like you said, DeAndre Hunter, who we know can get buckets, and he's pretty good defensively. Cam Reddish is obviously the one that is they're betting all on his potential. He has all the skills that are needed to be a great player. Like he has the length, he has the shooting. Well, we didn't really see it in college, but I mean it's there if he works on it, and he has all the athletic ability and stuff like that. So he has the intangibles. It's just, will he work there to become a really good player?
Mm-hmm.
In Duke, we saw that he was very lazy and he didn't do that. But was that just the case that he was a third option and he didn't like being a third option or something like that?
And
who knows?
May even been just a sort of didn't want to be there in the first place. Like a lot of these guys don't want to go to college; they just want to go to the NBA. So you never know.
That's true. That could have also been it. But yeah, so that was definitely something where I think still a good pick. Made sense. Traded away some of their assets, but they're in a position where they want to get a good young core. They also have John Collins, who's really good, and I forgot about him.
They've stockpiled some talent. I think they're doing some good stuff in Atlanta.
They're reminding me of us a couple years ago. They got a lot of young talent they should be happy about. And who knows? They could maybe possibly sneak into the playoffs, 7th or 8th seed.
In the East, you never know.
Yeah, in the East, they have a possibility if they get it all together.
They might have some cap space too. You never know.
I think they do have cap space, but I don't think
they might not get anybody, but
they'll get free agents. But
they
not
can
like
improve.
Big guys.
Yeah,
they'll get like guys to fill out the roster. But yeah, that team definitely was one of both of our winners. Who was another one of your winners?
This is a Nuggets podcast, right?
Yeah, it's a Nuggets podcast.
The Denver Nuggets
Yeah, sure.
are a winner in this draft. Who knows what Bol Bol Sore is going to end up being? I'm never going to not call him that now.
It's his nickname. Bol Bol.
He, for where we got him, the 14th pick of the second round, that is just such a good value, considering he has lottery talent. Whether he stays healthy or not, that remains to be seen. But I think it was a really good risk to take, considering where we are, like where our team is at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say I'm not as sold on the Bol Bol thing. I think it was a good pick. Like, I'm not against the pick. If you get him in the second round and all you had to give up was some cash and like of some future picks, the Heat, yeah, it made sense to take the risk with his injury risk and things like that. But I just know players of his size usually don't pan out once they get a foot injury. The only one who was very recent, so at least that's, beneficial for us, was Joel Embiid. He had that type of injury and he came back and he looks fine, but he is kind of injury prone everywhere else. So is it a fact where he's getting hurt because he's trying to compensate to not get his foot hurt or something like that? That's worrying. I watched a lot of tape on Bol Bol. He's terrible defensively. He's so bad defensively.
But he's got the body to improve defensively.
Yeah, but right now it's just like if someone got past him when he was at Oregon for those 9 games, they got past him. He wasn't going to do anything about it. And he's good at blocking when he's in a stationary position, but if it's like off the help and things like that, he kind of struggled for the most part. But he is very talented offensively. That's something no one can deny. He had 20 points average in those 9 games when he played at Oregon. He can shoot spot up threes very efficiently. He's very, I would say, agile with the ball for his size. He can dribble well. He's a decent passer. I wouldn't say he's a great passer. A lot of people are like, oh, he has such amazing passing ability. I think he has good passing ability. Obviously, if he plays with Jokic some more, I think Jokic could definitely help him learn how to become a better passer. But yeah, I'm not sold on it just because he's hurt. I don't like the foot injuries with big people.
There is also a question of just how he fits on the team. He's 7'2". He can stretch the floor, so it's potential for him to play giant stretch 4, I guess, with Jokic.
Yeah,
but
he could play stretch 4.
Obviously our center position is locked down for years to come, so he's never going to take that over. But it's a pick to be curious about. I don't know if he's going to play in Summer League or not. I somewhat doubt it, but
they have not announced anything at the time, so I assume our medical staff is going to be safe again and probably take him out from Summer League.
Yeah.
But will he play in the season? Who knows? Because this is different than a back injury. He says he's healthy. He says he's 100% healthy.
I think it's more likely I think it's more likely he plays this year than it was Michael Porter Jr. was going to play last year, but then again, we don't really need him this year.
I prefer to send him to the G League. I think the G League is probably the best place for him to go, where he can refine his tools. We can slowly ease him on minutes in the G League, where he's most likely better than most players in the G League.
Yeah.
From his talent that we've seen. So
talent alone, yeah.
So I think that would be good for him just to have. We don't really need him right now. Obviously, if injuries happen and stuff like that, we can call him up if we need him. And then we don't sign anyone to actually be a backup at the positions he would play. But I think this is more of a long-term investment where it's worth the risk, but I'm not going to say we're a winner because of it. But I get why you did, and I know that Nuggets Nation appreciates that, Phil. So good job.
I like the value. Value is important to me. What is one of your winners?
The other one of my winners for the draft was definitely the Memphis Grizzlies. I think they did an amazing job at doing what they did. First off, starting with the trade, I think the trade was very good trade just to get some solid pieces, solid veterans that if you do keep them around for the next year, they can teach the young guys what it's like to win, what it's like to, play defense, what it's like to be in the playoffs, things like that. Just teach them, basically mentor them, because I think Jay Crowder has a lot of experience. Kyle Korver has a ton of experience when he played in Atlanta and Utah and Cavs, everywhere he's been. So he has a ton of experience. Grayson Allen, I don't really like Grayson Allen, but I mean, it's a good another young pick that you can get off your bench who, he can shoot kind of. He plays defense. He's going to cheap shot some people maybe.
Yeah. He's got a high motor.
Yeah,
and he can knock down some shots we've seen.
But yeah, I think that was good. And then obviously Ja Morant. I really like Ja Morant. I think he's going to be great in this league. I think it's going to take him a little while, just like with De'Aaron Fox, to get adjusted to, just my speed and my physicality and athletic ability is not going to be enough. But I think once he figures that out, I think just like De'Aaron Fox, sky's the limit with him. So I think it's just going to take a little of an adjustment period. Same thing with like Trae Young. Trae Young took a little bit of adjustment to get really good last year. And then Brandon Clark, who I swear to God we should have traded for because he's a great power forward who is very efficient, had so many blocks last year at Gonzaga. He's a very good defender, efficient scorer in the paint. He doesn't do much else, but he would have been a perfect backup power forward, I think, for us. Obviously, it was hard to go get him. I don't think that Conley didn't try to go get him. I feel like he probably did. But
trying to trade for virtually every pick.
Yeah,
in the 20s.
He probably tried to trade for a lot of people, and then once he knew that he could get Bol Bol at so low, he got Bol Bol, which again was a good pick. But I really do wish we got Brandon Clark. I think he's going to be really good for Memphis. I think he'll be a good backup power forward for them behind Jaren Jackson. I think that team is also still going to be pretty good defensively with the addition of him and Jay Crowder. But now it's time to go on to losers. Who's your loser? I think everyone knows what one loser is, but who's your loser?
Well, should we start with the obvious one, or should we talk about other ones?
You can go with the obvious one.
All right, the Phoenix Suns are the biggest loser of this draft. They drafted Cameron Johnson at 11th overall. I don't think he was projected to go until like the late 20s. They also got a guy named Ty Jerome, who I don't want to say is not good, but I don't think he probably is. Again, I don't think value-wise was where you would take that guy. I'm not sure what they're doing, but that's kind of been the theme of the Phoenix Suns recently. So
yeah, they just don't know what they're doing. They keep drafting, I think, poorly. I am a UNC fan. I watched Cameron Johnson for all of the year. He's an amazing shooter. He shot 40% from three. That's a crazy statistical amount. There's no reason, just because he can shoot the three and he can play defense, that you trade down and then pick him super early still. That made no sense to me. And I'm a fan of his, and that still didn't make any sense to me. I think he's going to be a fine player, but way too high to pick him.
Yeah, I mean, there were 24 players invited to the NBA draft, and at 11th overall, they picked someone who was not invited.
Yeah, he didn't even go to the draft. Like, he didn't think he was going to be there. Kobe White was in shock in his press conference, and it looked like he was supporting his teammate, but it was more like, holy crap, did he actually just go 11th? Because he didn't even expect him to go 11th. Like, no offense, they're like brothers and everything, I get it, but you could even tell Kobe White was like, are you kidding me? Like, not even Nasir or like anyone else that was there. It was just shocking. And also, like, they traded TJ Warren, and I get they did that to open up cap space, but like, also, first off, that's a great thing for us because TJ Warren kills us every single time.
It's true.
Like, every single time TJ Warren got like 30 on us or something, and I don't know why. But he's gone now, so that's good. But yeah, they traded him to get cap space, and I don't know for who. They didn't even get that much for him. I get it was kind of a bad contract, but if you're replacing TJ Warren with Cameron Johnson, I just don't agree with that move. So a lot of it, yeah, I really just don't know what the Suns did. They had the 6th pick. They could have got like Jared Culver or whoever.
Kobe White.
Could have got Kobe White. They needed a point guard.
Could have even gotten Cam Reddish.
Could have got Cam Reddish. There was a lot of things they could have done. I just don't. I think Kobe White made the most sense because Devin Booker's been playing point guard, and Devin Booker shouldn't have to be playing point guard basically on that team. Like, he's there to score. He's there to get buckets. Get someone who can help him get easy buckets. So yep. I just don't get why they did that. But yes, I do agree that for everyone, I think that was the main loser in the draft.
Yeah.
Don't know what they were doing.
It doesn't make a ton of sense.
But who would be another one of yours?
For me, this one isn't as big for me, but I have the Miami Heat as a loser just because they picked Tyler Hero out of Kentucky. I don't really know anything about him. I don't know if he's a good player or not, but they passed up on Romeo Langford for him, and I think Romeo Langford is going to be a good player. Just for me, I feel like, again, it's just kind of a weird decision. I think it's important to go for talent when you're in the lottery rather than maybe this guy is good. I don't want to.
I have no clue. I didn't see a lot of his stuff there, but I mean, I can agree with what you're saying. They probably should have gone with more of the talent route because they're screwed for cap space for a long time. They just got finished paying Chris Bosh his contract.
Gosh. And they still have to pay Hassan Whiteside.
Yeah, they have to pay Hassan Whiteside. Like, it was pretty bad what happened with ever since LeBron left. They just got stuck in cap hell. So obviously, yeah, they could have got Romeo Langford. He's supposed to be pretty good, from what I heard. And always Boston somehow finds someone who's amazing in the draft because they're always looking for the future, things like that. But yeah, I get that pick for sure. I think that makes at least some sense to me for sure.
Who was your other loser?
My other loser was the Washington Wizards, and that's just because they only drafted this kid, Rui Hachimura, because he's from Japan, and they told basically the owner, in my opinion, I have no sources on this, I have nothing, but in my opinion, they literally told the owner, hey, do you want to get Japanese people to come watch our games and sell tickets? And the guy was like, oh, we'll sell tickets? Oh yeah, draft him. You know why? Because they didn't even get him into an interview or a workout or anything. They just drafted this kid who's not a bad player. His offensive game is very lacking. He's very raw in the offensive end. Defensively, I think he's fine. But they literally just drafted him because he's from Japan. And I know this for at least somewhat of a fact because when they introduced him in their press conference, the owner gets a question from one of the reporters about his offensive skills, and he looks over to him and says, you can shoot the three, right?
Not a ton of scouting going on over in Washington, apparently.
That's not a good pick. Like, you don't do that, especially when you could have got Cam Reddish or, I don't know, PJ Washington. Anyone else that probably would have been better for your team at that point. I just don't get it. Like, again, he could be really good. Maybe I'm wrong, but if you're going to pick a guy you don't even scout or, like, do an interview of, it's because you picked that guy because you had no expectation that you were going to be able to actually pick him. It's like us with MPJ last year. We didn't do anything on him because we didn't expect him to fall to us.
Exactly.
So we just took a risk. We literally had to apparently reach out to other medical departments about his medical records. That's just because we didn't expect him to be there.
Yeah.
This guy was going to be there no matter what. And they just like, oh, he sells tickets? I want the Asian market. Let's go do it.
Again, like, maybe he's a really talented player, but Cam Reddish was right there. And
yeah, just get Cam Reddish. Even if Cam Reddish
Not
doesn't
like-
pan out, like, at least you're taking a boom or bust pick instead of just tickets.
yeah, like, what is Cam Reddish, a small forward?
Yeah.
You don't even, it doesn't make much sense.
They lost Oubre. They don't even have Oubre. They don't have anyone on small forward.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. Power forward, maybe you need, yeah, I agree with that.
It's just a bad pick. I don't get why they did it. I mean, I do get why they did it. They want to sell tickets, and I get it. There's not going to be a John Wall there. Who knows what they're going to end up doing with Bradley Beal. There's rumors he's going to get traded. There's rumors they want to sign him for an extension. Who knows what they're going to do with him. I have no clue what's going on in Washington. It's a shit show over there.
It really is.
But I get it. They're in this weird point where they're like, we have to pay John Wall a ton of money to sit basically on the bench next year because he got injured in his house, like tearing his Achilles. So obviously, like, I think that was just a really, really bad pick. But yeah, overall draft, it wasn't a big draft this year. There were a few trades here and there, nothing really big. It was mostly just people trading picks to move here and there. Some players getting moved, but nothing really big. And a lot of these players, we're gonna be honest, it wasn't that nice of a draft class compared to the last 2 years of drafts.
You got like 3 we know are probably going to be good. The rest are more or less question marks.
For the most part, yeah. Like, I would say, the top 5, those guys will most likely be at least decent players, and the top 3 will be really good. And then anything past that point, basically, it's just you're picking out personal preference. It wasn't anything of you think this guy's better than this guy, you think this guy's better than that. It was just personal preference or like need or best player available, whatever your team wanted to do in that situation. Which is why, like the Nuggets, we went and got Bol Bol because we saw an opportunity to get what was going to be a first-round talent until he got hurt, and we could just trade basically nothing for him, so we did it. And again, you think it's going to be a good thing. I don't think he'll pan out that well.
I'm optimistic.
I'm not.
Talent-wise, yes, but I agree that there is a lot of question marks about the health.
I just don't like foot injuries for big people. I saw Yao go down with a foot injury. I've never been the same since. He always got foot injuries. It was terrifying.
That's true.
And it's the same injury that he has. And he's like scrawny too. I don't know if that helps or that makes it worse. I just don't know. But he can shoot. He can score. He can kind of rebound. And
there's reason for optimism.
There's reason for optimism. Defensively, not that great. I wish we got like a defensive guy instead of an offensive guy. But you know what? Apparently, we're just going straight offense.
That's
baby.
all we do. Offense.
But now that the draft's done, we move on to the most exciting point of the year, but also kind of like depressing for Nuggets fans because we usually don't really do much. But it's still pretty exciting. Free agency is coming up. It opens up on July 30th. They changed it so people like Magic Johnson don't have to wait outside of LeBron's house at midnight to go talk to him because they were like, what the hell, Magic? What are you doing? But yeah, I don't think you can officially sign them, but you can do like a deal agreed in principle basically at that point. So we'll go through some of our predictions for where at least the top free agents will go. And then after that, we'll go into some feasible options and options for the Denver Nuggets, even with some of our limited cap space. So the first player we'll go with, we'll start from bottom and then go all the way up top. First one we'll start with is Marc Gasol. What do you think is going to happen with him?
I think he is going to stay on the Raptors. Yeah. He has a team option, correct?
He has a player option.
Oh, he has a player option. Then I think he's 100% going to pick up that. I'm pretty sure it's a pretty sizable player option. Yeah. So I think he's staying for sure.
Yeah, I also agree that he will stay in Toronto because apparently he got litty at the parade.
He was real hype.
He seems to love those guys over there. I think it just makes sense. He's an international guy, international country, basically. And then also that player option, like you said, it's a fat player option. It's like $25 million, $24 million.
Jesus.
So you're not going to turn that down when you're Marc Gasol, and you were basically you were a starter, but you were also, for some part of the season, a bench player, so your stats don't look that good. Like, no one's going to give you that money again.
And you're 35 years old or something.
Pretty old. So you're going to take that. He's going to take that. I don't think he will leave. Also, he won a championship. It just doesn't make sense to leave for him. Next one going up is Al Horford, who has been reported to stop all talks with the Celtics, has opted out, not going to re-sign there, as apparently they're not even like Woj said, it perished. Like their talks perish. Like they don't even, nothing's happening. So where do you think he could go?
Well, that's news to me, but I just have a feeling that Horford is the kind of player that's going to get way overpaid, and specifically by a team like the New York Knicks or even potentially the Los Angeles Lakers, something like that. Mm-hmm. I wrote it down as him going back to the Celtics.
So you didn't see the report?
I did not see that report.
Well, for me, obviously a lot of Nuggets fans want him, and we'll get into that later about a possibility where that could happen. But for more realistic option, I think it's either he goes to, like you said, the Knicks, or he goes to a team like the Clippers if they don't cash in on some of the guys they wanted, things like that. And then he could also go to like one of the other teams that have cap space, like the Pacers or things like that. I don't think he'll go to the Lakers because I feel like they're going to still shoot for bigger fish. And also, I don't even know if they're actually going to get cap space to be able to afford some of these guys. So from my gut feeling, I say just because the Knicks are going to miss out on everyone because no one wants to go to the Knicks. And if you do want to go to New York, you're going to go to Brooklyn.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I think he's going to go to the Knicks. I think that just makes the most
I can
sense
agree
for
with
him.
that. Now I know he's not going to the Celtics. The Knicks makes the most sense.
And then next one is Julius Randle. He has a player option that he's most likely going to decline just because they got Zion. I think he did decline it.
He already
actually.
declined
He
it.
declined it. Zion's coming on there. He's not going to go to a team where he's going to be a backup for a young kid like that, especially with how well he's been playing. He averaged 21 points, 8 rebounds, had a very good season, so he's going to get paid very well, probably max contract level. Where do you think he will end up?
I have 2 teams on my list. 1, the New York Knicks, and 2, the Phoenix Suns. I just think that Booker-Randall connection may be something that might end up becoming a thing. But yeah, him I wasn't really sure about. I don't really know much about him as a player.
He's just very gifted offensively. Still kind of learning defensively.
So I don't know. Even if he hasn't ever played for a winner, so it's hard to really tell.
Yeah, his numbers might be kind of inflated because he did play on the Pelicans and he was mainly their main scoring option. But especially when AD basically quit on the team. But I think he's a pretty talented player. Again, this is another people that Nuggets fans have looked into. A little hesitant of more people I've seen, our Nuggets Nation on Reddit. They are kind of hesitant to him because of his lack of defensive ability. But I have another situation we'll get into later where we can make up for that and maybe sign him, but it'll take a lot.
Take a lot of maneuvering.
So that's why I don't think it happens. I think most likely situation is he goes to Boston. I think since they're going to have so much cap space with Kyrie gone.
I could see that.
And now Horford gone, I think he goes to Boston. Young player to play with the rest of the young core makes the most sense to me to be there, especially because I don't think they're going to re-sign Marcus Morris. Terry Rozier's probably gone. They're going to have a lot of cap space. I mean, Terry Rozier might come back because Kyrie's not there anymore, but it seemed like he got pretty upset about the whole situation over there.
That team seems to have issues, so yeah, I could see them kind of just bringing in just some new guys around Tatum and Brown.
Yeah. And then we'll go into the next guy, which is coming off a weird season, DeMarcus Cousins. DeMarcus Cousins obviously came off the Achilles injury halfway through the season, then got injured again in the playoffs of a quad injury. Didn't have really that good of a season, got kind of exposed in the playoffs for his lack of mobility coming off of these injuries. Who knows what he's going to do? It seemed like he doesn't look like he's going to sign back with the Warriors, but who knows? Maybe they convince him to. Where do you think he'll go?
I think if Kevin Durant leaves, then he will sign back with the Warriors, but I also have him as a potential Maverick.
That's a possibility, yeah.
I feel like that they are in a position to give him probably a bigger contract than what the Warriors gave him, but another one of those prove it contracts. Mm-hmm. I think they're in a position to do that because they do have Kristaps, and so if Boogie doesn't work out, they still have Kristaps and Luka to just kind of build towards. They have a lot of young talent, so it's a good risk to take.
That's true. That's definitely a possibility, and Mark Cuban's apparently been trying to get Boogie Cousins for years and years and years. So that's definitely a possibility. My pick is scary, and I really hope it doesn't happen, but I really could see it happen because he had a disappointing season, and he's still kind of coming off of injury. Because I don't think the Lakers are going to open up a lot of cap space. I think he can go to the Lakers on a shitty deal because they'll basically be like, hey, you can come play with AD again, who you really liked playing with in New Orleans, and you can play with LeBron, and we'll pay you a decent amount, but we're not going to pay you a lot because we don't have a lot of cap space anyways. But if we get cap space, who knows? Maybe it's down the line we can sign you, or if you win a ring, then you can go get a big contract somewhere else. It's basically going to be like the Warriors pitch again, but in purple and gold. So I'm scared of that. That's where I think he'll end up because
that'd be scary.
I don't think the Lakers are going to get Kyrie. Again, that's later. I don't think they're going to get really any of the big free agents because I just don't think they're going to really open up a lot of cap space because if they were going to do it, they would have done it in the draft. I think most teams knew that's what they were trying to do, so they stayed away from trading with the Lakers.
Yep.
Which is good. Good job, league. We all did a good job.
Yeah, good job.
But yeah, I think he could sign with the Lakers on a very minimal deal, which would suck, but I could see it being a possibility.
Quite scary.
And then the next one we have is another center coming off an all-star season. A guy who I never really expected to be really good, but Nikola Vucevic, another Nikola.
Turned into a good player.
He got really good. He averaged 20 points, 12 rebounds, like I said, first all-star season. No way he stays in Orlando. So where do you think he's going?
I feel pretty strongly that he's going to end up being a Clipper.
I could see a Clipper, yeah.
I just think that makes sense. I don't think the Clippers are going to get all these guys that everybody thinks that they're going to get. And I think Nikola is a good player, and I don't think he's worthy of the max, but I think that the Clippers will give him a max.
Yeah, he's going to get a max just because centers are already very few in between, especially good centers, so he's going to get overpaid. I mean, if we're paying Plumlee $12 million, this guy's going to get the max for sure. And just because you already said DeMarcus Cousins was going to go to Dallas, I didn't say he was going to go to Dallas, so now I think Nikola Vucevic is going to go to Dallas.
I could see that as well.
I think it makes the most sense. International player, probably can get along with Porzingis and Luka really well. They probably already kind of know each other because of, European tournaments and things like that. They've probably known each other for a while. So I think it makes the most sense for him. He can fit in that system pretty well. And I don't think Mark Cuban's against giving him the max because he knows that Dallas isn't that an attractive spot for free agents to come. So if he can get an all-star player, might as well go and get it. And then speaking about the Mavs, the next one they have on the list is Kristaps. I don't think Kristaps is going to be a free agent. He's restricted anyways, but I think he's just going to sign his tender so he can get a max deal the next year.
Yeah, there's no reason for him to leave, and he's just going to.
Yeah, he's just going to sign his free agent tender so then he can wait till next year to get a max deal with a team, whether it's the Mavericks or anything like that. Also, why are the Mavericks good still? Low-key, it's not good.
They're high-key good. It's kind of scary.
And then the most mysterious guy of them all, Tobias Harris. I don't know where this guy's going to go.
I put Lakers, but that's just because I don't think he would return to the Clippers, but that's all I got.
I don't think he'll go back to Philadelphia, but he could go back to Philadelphia. Philadelphia is going to have a ton of cap space because they have 2 max spots kind of open, but I just don't know if anyone's going to Philadelphia. I
could see him just getting overpaid by a shitty team, too.
I could see that, too. So I'm just going to say, my prediction is he goes wherever Boban goes because they're both free agents. They're best buddies. They've been on the same team for the past, 3 years.
Why not?
Wherever he goes, he's going. So that's my prediction. I really don't know with Tobias Harris. I think he's a good player. I do not want him on the Nuggets. Because it makes no sense.
Does not make sense.
He doesn't play defense. He can shoot well, but
I'll just say Lakers. Maybe they want to make a super front court, and let's hope they don't get DeMarcus Cousins.
I'll say he'll stick with Philadelphia because someone has to stick with Philadelphia. They have to spend the money somehow. So
exactly,
I'll say he sticks with Philadelphia. Next one, pretty easy option compared to Tobias Harris, Chris Middleton. Staying with the Bucks.
I think he's probably staying with the Bucks. I also have the Clippers as a possibility for him as well, but that really just depends on
if they fuck him over in the contracts. Yeah, if they don't give him his max.
I don't know if he's gonna. I don't know how much they're gonna pay Chris Middleton. I feel like they have to pay him, otherwise they have to pay him his max. Can't. Otherwise, they're just gonna be a team with Giannis and no one else.
Yeah.
But if they don't keep him, then I could definitely see the Clippers getting him.
I mean, he's a great player. He shoots, he defends, rebounds. Was an all-star this year. Fringe. Also kind of questionable. I think it should have been Pascal. But
yeah, Pascal's better.
Chris Middleton made it. So, I mean, he had a better start to this season. But yeah, he's an all-star player. And I think they're just going to pay him the max. They're just going to run it back with that team.
They probably should run it back.
All they need is Giannis to learn how to shoot a free throw.
Yeah.
And shoot, something.
They would have been in the finals.
Yeah, as long as Giannis learns how to not just dunk on people all the time, because you can't just dunk on Kawhi Leonard. I think it will help him out a little bit. Another easy option, but he's coming off a torn ACL. It's going to be Klay Thompson. Obviously, everyone thinks he's going to Warriors. There's rumors maybe Lakers because his dad used to play for the Lakers, things like that, but...
I think he's gonna get a 5-year max from the Warriors. I think they're gonna keep Clay and Steph together for their whole careers.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be the main thing. I think that no matter what, they want to make sure, KD, obviously a better player, but I think in the Warriors' mindset, Klay Thompson's top priority, no doubt in my mind. You have to make sure you keep those two together, because even without KD, they were really good together. So
exactly.
Obviously, one of those years is just gonna be dead cap money for them, but I think they're okay with paying that because they're filthy rich.
Yeah, California team.
Yeah, they're going to get a new stadium, so they're going to get even more money from that. So I don't think they really care to pay him the max and keep him. Also, it seems like he wants to stay. I don't think his dad said he wants to stay. I don't think he would want to go anywhere else. And if he did, to be LA, and it's just like, why would you go there?
Exactly.
Next, this one basically depends on how everything else goes.
Exactly.
But D'Angelo Russell is completely in like no man's land. He's gonna have to wait a couple days in the free agency for sure to see where Kyrie goes and see where every other top free agent goes, to see where he can actually go to. Even though he's restricted, the only way I think the Nets would match his contract is if they don't get Kyrie. But I think they will most likely get that. So who knows where he's going? Timberwolves been rumored, but I don't think the Timberwolves really have the cap space unless they start just offloading Wiggins and stuff like that.
He's a mystery. I could see him going to the Celtics as well.
I can see that. Yeah, it'd be funny.
I have him going to the Timberwolves, but again, who knows? So
I just went with fit, and I just went with the concept of, like, again, I don't think the Lakers are going to get that much cap space. I don't think the Clippers are going to really go for him. I just think fit-wise, he should go to Indiana.
Indiana would be cool.
They have the most cap space. He can go with another player who was also basically traded away and doubted on his whole career. Even though Oladipo's coming off an injury, I think that would be a cool 1-2 duo at the guard position.
Be a very good backcourt.
They both got chips on their shoulders. I think they would mesh really well together. So I think that would make the most sense. But again, who knows?
That one's tough.
It's tough. He depends on where everyone else goes. Where does KD go? Where does Kyrie go? Where do all the rest of the free agents go? Which is kind of unfortunate for him because he doesn't really have an option to. Like, he still gets to choose where he wants to go, but he's kind of forced into options. So I feel bad for D'Angelo Russell. I just really hope he doesn't go back to the Lakers. Again, I don't think they open up cap space. But
yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. But we'll see, I guess.
It just, like, there's someone posted a video where he, like, when he was a rookie, he said, "What would be your top 5 that you could start with?" And he put Anthony Davis and LeBron in there, and Anthony Davis keeps liking his stuff. I'm like, stop this. I don't like this. I know it's okay now. It's not tampering, but stop it. And then Cat's doing the same thing, apparently. It's just like, what are you doing?
Everyone's recruiting.
Next, Jimmy Butler. He just wants to get paid.
Yeah.
He said it on multiple occasions. I just want a max contract. So it depends. Lakers have been rumored. Clippers been rumored. Maybe return to Philly. What do you think?
I think he wants as much money as possible, so that would be staying on the Sixers. So that's where I have him staying.
Okay, yeah, because it does seem like he just wants money, even though he's like, I'm all about winning and stuff like this. But it just seems like you left Minnesota because they weren't giving you money, which thank you for that. It really helped out.
Appreciate that one. Yeah.
But yeah, I think most likely it's either Philly or the Clippers if they miss out on Kawhi.
Yep.
If the Clippers miss out on Kawhi, they're going to go after Jimmy Butler. And again, this is all my things with the thoughts that the Lakers do not open up cap room. I don't think they'll do that.
I don't think they're going to do it either.
So I think Clippers make the most sense if he's like, you know what? I don't like Philly. I like beaches. I want to go there. I don't want a Philly cheesesteak. Which is like, why not? It's good, you know?
They're dope.
Home of Rocky, baby. Not our Rocky, the other Rocky. But our Rocky's better.
Yeah, he is.
He would win in a fight. You're going to beat him, Rock. Next up is Kemba Walker coming off. Was he on All-Star this year?
Yeah. He started.
Oh, yeah, he did start. It was in Charlotte. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Coming off All-Star season. He's been good ever since he came into the league, really.
He's been a great player.
He's the only good player on the Hornets. I feel bad for him to be on the Hornets. But this comes down to a situation of, does he want to win or does he want crazy money? So where do you think he goes?
I don't know. I put my 2 options for whether, if he wants crazy money, obviously he's staying.
Yeah.
If he wants to win, I could see him going to the Mavericks or the Lakers, but I don't think the Lakers can afford him, so I'll say Mavericks.
Okay, so I think that's a definite possibility. There's been rumors he wants to maybe play with the Mavericks, but there's rumors everywhere. I don't know what to trust, what not to trust.
This is like the hardest predictions to make.
It's really hard because it all depends on multiple variables. Who's at whose house recruiting, like what's happening. But the thing is, to give a little bit more detail, since he was on an All-NBA team, he went from going from $140 million in 4 years to now having the option of having a contract of 5 years, $220 million.
Yeah.
That's $80 million. And I know some people are like, oh, it doesn't matter. They're all millionaires. It's $80 million.
Probably going to stay.
That's still money.
He still loves Michael Jordan, so.
Yeah, he likes Michael Jordan. But, like, the thing is, like, when people are like, oh, they don't really care about money, that's like KD and, like, LeBron and these guys who have huge shoe endorsements and endorsements everywhere and, like, other businesses. I don't think Kemba has that stuff, and I'm pretty positive he doesn't, actually. I don't even think he's sponsored by Jordan, which is a shame. What are you doing, Michael Jordan? But I think, he just has to take that money. So I'm going to say he's going to stay. But if he does leave, he goes home. He goes to the Knicks.
Ooh,
but
I can see that.
That's it. That's the only reason why. And the only reason I kind of want to see that is because I still remember that step back he had in the Big East tournament, because that's the sickest step back of all time.
He's clutch.
That's where Cardiac Kemba came in. Great shot. Amazing player. So, yeah, I think either he stays or he goes to the Knicks. But you got to stay. It's $80 million.
I can't imagine he leaves. That's too much money. But you never know.
So we'll see where that goes. Then the next player is, let me get back to the list.
I think it's Kyrie.
Yes, it is Kyrie Irving. So Kyrie Irving, obviously disappointing season. He still played well, but disappointing overall, like team success and like image season for him. He didn't really look like a good guy throughout the whole year. So he's definitely leaving Boston. I think everyone, even Boston's prepared for him to leave. No one expects him to re-sign there. Obviously, rumors of he wanted to play with AD for a really long time. He has a connection with LeBron. But then again, he's from New Jersey, and New Jersey was originally the Nets team. And he also just switched ownership to Jay-Z's ownership agent group, Rock Nation, which he used to be an owner in the Brooklyn Nets anyways. So most people are thinking the Brooklyn Nets. But what are you thinking, Phil?
I think it has to be Brooklyn. It makes too much sense. And I don't think the Lakers can afford him. I think he's going to ask for quite a lot of money, and I don't think even if the Lakers somehow manage to get like anything below a max space, they won't be able to pay him.
Yeah, probably not. I don't think he'll take a pay cut, especially to be the second option again.
Third option.
Actually, yeah, you're right. Anthony Davis is better. But yeah, I just don't think that he'd be okay with doing that because their relationship, like him and LeBron on the court together, is perfect. They work perfectly. But apparently off the court, they hate each other. Or at least Kyrie hates LeBron. I don't know. No one really knows what happened in that situation except for those two. And like their teammates, obviously. But like, I just, as a Nuggets fan, I really don't want that to happen. Because if that happens, we are screwed. Like, definitely screwed.
But I think I'm pretty sure we can be happy to know that the Lakers are going to start next season with 2 All-Stars.
Yes.
Knock on wood right now. But
I think it's going to be 2. But, so yeah, I agree with you. I think he'll go to the Nets. I think he's already getting Kevin Durant there with him, who was coming up next. But I think he's going to the Nets with or without Kevin Durant. I think it just makes the most sense. He'll get money. He'll get a good team. Now, whether he'll be a good leader or not of that team, who knows? But as long as he stays East, good job.
Yeah.
Stay East.
Exactly.
And then secondly, obviously, a guy who he wants to run with there, Kevin Durant, coming off the torn Achilles, so he's not going to play next year. Definitely just going to be on the bench for most of next year. Still probably going to get the max from any team he gets. People have said it's down to basically 3 teams: Warriors, Nets, Clippers. Clippers are like the wild card. Warriors are just because they can give them the most money, and then Nets, obviously, because if he wants to team up with Kyrie, that's where he goes to team up with Kyrie. Where do you think he's going to go?
I think it's going to be the Nets. I'm scared that he's just going to pick up his player option or sign a short. I know the Warriors are going to offer him a max, so he might just decide to run it back. But I have a feeling he just is sick of it.
There was a report that he's apparently really pissed off about what happened.
And a report also came out that he and Kyrie are talking. So I think it makes sense. I think him going to the Nets would be good for him and for the league. He obviously doesn't care about the league, but I think it makes sense. I think he's kind of been interested in playing in New York too.
He just needs to restore the balance.
Yeah, he's got to restore the balance.
Perfectly balanced is all things should be.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think hopefully he goes to the Nets. It seems like he's really pissed off at the Warriors. I would be too if I was him, especially just because it seemed like there was a lot of reports coming out during the finals that his teammates were questioning if he was faking it. The team was questioning if he was faking it. Like, the owner can cry like the GM can cry all he wants, but if there's those reports, like, KD's kind of a sensitive guy. He's going to take those to heart. So, that's the thing. I think Nets make the most sense. There was a report from Woj that said the Warriors, one of their basically plan B options is they're going to offer him a max contract and then sign and trade him. So sign him and then trade him to wherever he wants to go so they can at least get assets back for him.
Yeah.
Which, if you're another team, I don't get why you would do that.
I don't either. I feel like KD wants to leave, so I don't know why he'd agree to that. Maybe if they sign him to a supermax, like
that's what they would do. They would sign him to a supermax.
It really depends on...
For him, it makes sense, but for another team...
Oh, yeah.
Why would you trade away your young players for a guy who's going to be hurt for a year anyways? So you're basically trading for a guy who's injured for a year, and then you only have 4 years of him, and you lost your team that you wanted to run with him. Like, if that's me, like, in the Nets... I'm going to be like, hey, don't do that. Just sign here.
Just sign here. We'll pay you the max. You can hang out in New York. I think Nets makes sense. This whole situation kind of screams the Kawhi Leonard situation.
Yeah, so it just seems like I think he just wants a new place. I also think he wants to get that image that he ruined the league off of him. I think both him and Kyrie want to reshape their image after the last couple of years because they both don't look really good. And I think a lot of people have negative views on both of these guys now.
Exactly.
And they used to be beloved. I used to love Kyrie. I used to love Kevin Durant. And then they both turned into just enemies of the league. So I think this is the best option for them. It also gives them both something to say, hey, we can win championships without these guys. For Kyrie, without LeBron. For Kevin Durant, without all of the Warriors.
Exactly, yeah.
So I think it just makes the most sense in that aspect. And then lastly, NBA champion, Finals MVP, Kawhi Leonard, fun guy, bored man. It's Nets or not Nets. It's Raptors or Clippers.
It's gotta be Raptors.
I think it's gotta be Raptors. But how long of a deal?
Probably
That's
just.
what
I'm guessing it'll be like a 1-1.
I think he's gonna sign a 1-1, and then if he doesn't have a good year, he's like, I'm going to the Clippers, because you can't leave on a championship. Yeah. I just can't see a player doing that.
You can't do that. That's just.
It's just
not a good look.
Like, knowing Raptors fans, they probably wouldn't mind as much because he did win them a championship, so he did what he was supposed to do. So they still be okay with it. But it's just like, you can't go to the Clippers after you win a championship. Now that's why I think he'll probably sign a 1-1. Just sign 1 year deal with a player option. If he doesn't like it, if they don't do really good next year, if there's like issues in the locker room, something pops up, he'll be like, all right, I'm out. Good. It was good times. Peace. And also it just depends on the whole Masai Ujiri thing, because apparently Washington wants to go after him. He really likes Masai Ujiri. If Masai Ujiri gets ownership plus the basically president of basketball operations job there, he's not going to say no to that. You're not going to turn down ownership of a franchise.
Exactly.
So if that happens, maybe that's more of a reason why he takes a 1-1 to see if that happens. So I think he stays. You think he stays? Hopefully he stays, because if he goes to the Clippers, god damn it.
Yeah, for real though.
Yeah, so that's most of the free agents. Like I said, most of them we think will either go to the East, or it's just a mixture of some random West teams between like Clippers, Mavericks, and then maybe like Lakers, with depending on what they do.
Mm-hmm.
But now let's go into what the Nuggies can do with minimal cap space that we do have, with Trey Lyles, IT, Tyler Lydon being off the books. And most likely we're not bringing any of those guys back, which I'm okay with completely.
Yep, me too.
I don't think IT, we tried out, didn't work. It's fine. Doesn't work all the time. We tried Trey. Oh, God.
He took such a huge step back this year.
He was good this first year, and then ever since Paul came back to the starting rotation that first year, he just never found it again.
Yeah.
And then Tyler Lydon, why did we draft you? I will always say that, and I will never not say that.
Yeah, he was a bad pick.
But yeah, so we'll go into options of what we could most realistically do. So I'll throw out some options for you, and we'll see which one of these players you like based on the options. So first we'll go realistic options. This is basically if we decline Millsap's option, but he still gets a very hefty deal. Hopefully not too hefty, but still one where we can't really sign bigger name free agents. So these are the players that could fill that backup power forward position. Markieff Morris, Jeff Green, Mike Scott, JaMychal Green, Jared Dudley, or Anthony Tolliver. I think all those guys are a good mixture. If I had to pick one, I'd get either Mike Scott or JaMychal Green, but that's mainly me. What would you think out of those guys? Because those are more likely the realistic cheap options that we could go after.
I mean, Morris defensively sounds pretty good to me.
It's not the good Morris.
Oh.
Bad Morris.
Markieff, not Marcus.
It's not Marcus.
Then, yeah, honestly, I don't know a ton about any of those players. Like, I know them. I've watched them. Honestly, I want the best defensive one.
Yeah, the best defensive one would probably be JaMychal Green or like Jared Dudley, because Jared Dudley, even though he's old, he knows old man defense, so like he can at least do some stuff. But best option defensively would be JaMychal Green. He played on Memphis. He has that mindset of defensively. He can kind of shoot. He's like okay offensively. If we want a guy who just shoots threes and can spread the floor and actually shoot threes consistently well, that's Mike Scott. So that's why if we wanted to go offensive side, we probably go with Mike Scott because he did well in Philadelphia. He has a track record of being a good stretch four guy. I think he's okay defensively, but I think he would make the most sense.
Yeah.
And then if we want to go to higher end choices that are still possible, but it takes Millsap taking like at least a small pay cut from going from like 30 to at least like 20 or 25 million a year. If he did that, then we could go after guys like Nikola Mirotic, Marcus Morris,
there we go,
Thaddeus Young, Al-Farouq Aminu, or Taj Gibson.
I think that that is the ideal, and I don't think it's an unrealistic thing. I feel like
that one can happen, but that's just higher end.
I just think Millsap should not take any more. We should not give Millsap any more than $25 million.
Yeah.
And then I would love Al-Farouq Aminu or Marcus Morris. Honestly, I've wanted Al-Farouq Aminu for a while, so that would be great. He can also run the three a little bit, which would be nice if certain things don't pan out the way Nuggets fans are starting to think that they could.
Depends. But
we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, it all, like, if he takes a pay cut, I think, yeah, Al-Farouq Aminu has always been a favorite of mine because he's not amazing at scoring, but he can hit the three and he can play defense.
Yeah.
That's all we really need from the backup power forward. If you can hit a three, because we saw he can hit a three. He did it in the series against us. He was pretty he at least got like 2 or 3, like most games.
PJ Tucker's intriguing. I don't know if he is even free agent.
This is not likely. There's no way.
Yeah, I feel like he's staying.
He would get too much money. I just think like him or Marcus Morris make the most sense if we want to go with defensive guys.
Yeah,
if we want to go all offensively, let's just get the Nicolas. Let's run it.
Let's run it back. That would be.
Let's run it with Nikola Mirotic and
Nikola pretty Jokic. Fun. It'd be really fun.
Because he's a great 3-point shooter. He's like not that good defensively, but he can score. He would be consistent from 3 for us, so it would make sense to maybe go for him.
Yeah, for sure.
I just think personally, Al-Farouq Aminu would make the most sense. 3-and-D guy wouldn't be that expensive. Be way better than Trey Lyles was. He at least can rebound too. It makes sense.
Good fit.
They're most ideal for sure. And then lastly, we'll talk about the dream scenarios for the Denver Nuggets. And this obviously considers Millsap taking a huge pay cut, or at least
we just tell him to hit the road.
I'd rather we not do that. I'd rather we find a way to keep Millsap and yet still sign some major free agents. Like I said, dream scenario would be that he takes a massive pay cut and then we can sign some big name free agents. Preferably, I would love to sign Julius Randle. I know some people on our Reddit, they weren't as in favor of signing Julius Randle because of his lack of defensive ability. But I think if there's a way that we can sign Paul Millsap to a smaller deal where he comes off the bench and is the Iggy of our bench, and then we can sign Julius Randle as our starter, that would boost both our bench power and also our starting lineup, and I think that would be most beneficial for us. The next possible dream scenario, I think, would be to somehow find a way to sign Al Horford to a deal, which again would ask Millsap to take a huge pay cut. And I think he'd be more willing to do it since they were friends back in Atlanta.
They're good friends.
Take him to take a pay cut and then get him somehow to start at the 3 position, have Horford at the 4, and have Jokic at the 5.
I didn't even consider that one, to be honest with you, but I am all for it. I think Horford's a good player. I think he would fit well on the team. I think it would be an interesting thing. Have like Millsap take a little bit of a pay cut, and then yeah, I'm for it. I'm about it. That also doesn't put too much pressure on Will Barton or Michael Porter Jr.
Exactly. It opens up some lanes. It makes us way better defensively.
Oh yeah,
because we would have 3 good defenders in their starting lineup.
Yeah.
We would have Gary, we would have Paul, and we would have Horford. And Paul and Horford already have defensive chemistry together too, because they were basically doing the same thing there. And it would help Jokic immensely to not be as tired on the offensive side of the ball because he doesn't have to exert himself as much defensively. Obviously, hopefully he gets better on the defensive end and it's just more natural to him, but it just would help. And Horford's a shot blocker, which we don't really have right now.
Yeah, rim protection is something I feel like we should definitely consider pursuing. But yeah, I'm for that.
So that's a good option. I think it's possible. I know Nuggets fans really want to see that because I saw that on a lot of comment boards. They really want that. Again, hard situation to do, a hard way to convince them to do it. But if that was possible, boy, I would put us in the Western Conference Finals for sure.
Mm-hmm. I think either of those moves would put us in the Western Conference Finals.
I would say, yeah, on paper, you're putting us in there with the Lakers. Like, you just gotta. So that would really help out. I think that would be a great one. And then here are other dream scenarios that wouldn't involve those 2 scenarios, but it would just be nice as Nuggets fans to basically, well, we wouldn't dump salary. We would basically still take that salary back on, but we get rid of the players. Basically sign and trading Will Barton or sign and trading Plumlee. If we sign and trade Will Barton, I would like to do it for either Terrence Ross, Trevor Ariza, or Bojan. I can't say his name. Bojan Bogdanovic.
What team did he play for?
The Pacers.
Oh, okay.
That one.
Okay, that one.
There's so many ones. I don't know. Okay, he played for the Pacers. That one. They're all except for Terrence Ross. Terrence Ross is a shooting guard, but we can make him play small forward.
He can play small forward for sure.
He's really good at 3-pointers. He's fine defensively. He's really athletic, though. He would be the yammer if we got a yammer, which we need.
We need it.
Trevor Ariza obviously would be ideal situation. You get him. You can maybe even do him with a mid-level exception, but I think this would be a better way. Just clear up the rotation a little bit. You get him. He starts. Teaches Michael Porter Jr. a little bit. If Michael Porter Jr. is better, I don't think Ariza would be like, nah, I'm not starting.
Yeah.
He'd be fine with it. So, because he's used to coming off the bench before in his career. So, if it's possible to get Trevor Ariza, that'd be great. And then Bojan, I don't know, Bogdanovic.
Mm-hmm.
He's really good at threes. And I don't know is he from Serbia?
Yeah, I think he's Serbian.
So if he's Serbian, get the Serbians in here. I'll get a flag.
Why not? If we have a team with a bunch of Serbians, I'm all for it.
Get Boban too.
Get Boban,
Let's get all of them. But yeah, so that's a possibility. If we do want to go that route, I think it just would be best to get Will Barton out of here. Not that I don't think Will Barton's good. I just don't think he fits the team anymore.
He can't start for this team.
He can't start. I thought he was going to get better as more of a facilitator. He really just didn't. And he
regressed.
He still gets tunnel vision every now and then.
Yeah.
Obviously, he had an injury. Didn't help him, but I just think it'd be best to try to find a way to move on for him for either a better player or just a more sound player who's more consistent. And then sign and trading Plumlee. This is just basically because it's here we're going to go for a guy who's better offensively than Plumlee or a guy who's better defensively than Plumlee.
Yeah.
So 2 options I have for this is either we sign and trade him for Brook Lopez, which would make us better offensively. Brook Lopez is still okay defensively.
Yeah.
But trade him because he can shoot 3. We saw he can shoot 3s.
Brook Lopez would be fun just because he'll pull up from the logo.
Yeah, because he killed us. He literally killed us last season. It was the worst thing I ever saw. So that's a possibility. It's possible to get him because he now has a developed outside range. I think he'd be great for the team. It just would help spread the floor a little bit and also wouldn't make us be playing 4v5 like we saw sometimes against the Trailblazers.
For sure. Yeah.
And then if not him, saw a report that Willie Cauley-Stein wants out of Sacramento, and he's a restricted free agent, but I don't think they'll match him if he wants out, because you're not going to match a guy who wants to leave, I don't think. At least I wouldn't imagine to see that.
I think
but
so, yeah.
The Kings are weird, so who knows?
True.
But if it is possible, we sign and trade. They sign him, we trade Plumlee for him. That'd be the best thing, because then he'll bring a defensive mind state. Another Kentucky guy. Didn't play with Jamal, but like Kentucky guys all know each other. They all have a group chat, so
yeah, like I think it's interesting. A lot of Kentucky connections could actually benefit the Nuggets in some way.
I would hope so.
Like if we talked about it earlier with a potential Duke super team, why not a Kentucky decent team?
I'm really surprised that hasn't happened at this point, to be honest. It's
Strange.
shocking to me. There's been so many versions of guys who could get together, and they've never done
Never
it.
happened.
Because there was literally a starting 5 that all got drafted, and they didn't decide. They could have all done it, and they just didn't decide to. But I don't know. I think if there's any possibility in a way to get anyone that's not Will Barton or Plumlee just to help the team, either defensively or offensively, it's a bonus for us. Because our bench is good, but those guys are getting too overpaid for what we're asking them to do.
I think best case for this team is, like, obviously we talked about all these awesome scenarios. I think, but realistic best case, in my opinion, is you got to get Millsap to take a little bit of a pay cut, and I think you have to dump one of the two, of Plumlee or Barton. I doubt we'd dump either, but I think it would be really beneficial if we did.
Yeah, there has to be a way. And again, it wouldn't be a salary dump. We would still have that salary. It would just be for better players. We would still have the salary. Like, it would still be on our books and everything like that.
I would prefer to dump Plumlee over Barton, just because at least with Barton he can get hot. We saw Plumlee was virtually useless in the playoffs.
Yeah, he didn't do so hot. So like that's definitely a possibility where if it's possible to get rid of Plumlee. Again, I do think he did have a good season, but it's the make or break of the league. You need better players to succeed, basically. So it's a possibility. We should definitely try to find a way to do it. I would like to mainly just get Paul Millsap to take a pay cut. This is the main thing.
That's best. I think that would be ideal, yeah.
The main things we have to hope for in free agency. As many players going to the East as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Millsap taking a pay cut, and then us getting either a new backup power forward or a starting power forward with Millsap staying on. I don't think Millsap's leaving. I don't think any of the core that we still have on contract is going to leave. Obviously, all the guys who are off contract are gone. Most likely. I don't know where Trey's going to go. I don't care. Tyler Lydon's going to be probably in the G League or China.
Who knows?
And IT is probably going to go back to Boston on like a minimum deal.
Amazing. Yeah, I think the only way Millsap isn't on this team is if the Nuggets can get a max slot for a max player.
Yes, because I know like Millsap, he had his issues with sometimes consistency, but once it was playoff time, he was one of the better players we had.
He was
saved
Mr.
us in
Reliable.
games.
Yeah, for
like
sure.
I think it was game 5 for the San Antonio series. We came back home, and he was the only one who was scoring in the beginning of that game.
Yeah,
and they were like, "Oh yeah, he really helped carry us." And he has a lot of experience. I think it would just help. So, but yeah, that's it for our at least free agency predictions. What we think of Bulbasaur, things like that. For the most part, things for the Nuggets are looking pretty good. Again, free agency is going to change everything in the league like it always does. And then that time we'll have more of a clear outlook of who should be favored in each conference, who should be the teams that we need to watch out for, where we stand in the Western Conference. As of right now, I'd say we're still a top 3 team. I don't think we're anywhere away from that. You can say top 4 for those Utah Jazz fans, and if the Portland fans want to chime in, sure, you can do whatever. But we're at least in the top echelon of Western Conference teams, in my opinion, just based on talent alone.
Yeah, for sure.
But we'll see how everything goes.
And before we leave, I just want to throw out a congratulations to Luka Doncic.
Did he win the Rookie of the Year?
He did.
Yeah.
Lou Williams won 6-man. Pascal won MIP, and Bud won Coach of the Year, and I think we all know that
I think
Giannis
he's
is going to be
yeah.
the MVP.
We should also just say that they should change the Sixth Man of the Year award to the Lou Williams award.
Yeah,
because he wins it every year.
He's going to win it every year.
He never doesn't win it. He
That's
doesn't start
that's his award.
just so he can win it.
Exactly.
He literally let Derrick Rose know at the beginning of the year, I'm going to win this award. Don't even try.
Don't even attempt to take it.
Another thing we should talk about. Space Jam 2 is happening, baby.
Yeah, I don't like the cast, so I don't care.
It's fine. Just because it has some weird players that we don't like, it's fine. And it's not because we don't like the WNBA players. It's just because we don't like Damian Lillard.
It's actually my favorite addition to the Space Jam.
AD's like, come on, we know.
I don't want AD. I don't want Clay. I don't want Dame.
Clay's in it. That makes no sense.
Fuck that.
But it is what it is. Space Jam 2, probably not going to be good. But the first one is nostalgic.
It's a classic. This won't be.
It's not good, but it's nostalgic and everyone loves it. But, you know, MJ can't act, baby. At least LeBron can kind of act. So that's coming to you in theaters next year?
Who knows? They probably have to film it this whole off season.
Yeah, they're filming it right now. They have a practice basketball court on the set.
How is that going to work for Mr. Klay Thompson with a torn ACL?
That's a good point.
Like, what are they going to do? How's he going to
Maybe that's how he loses
anything?
That's how he loses his powers.
They're just like, we're going to take his knee.
Like, we took his knee.
And now we're going to take his talent. They just take his elbow. That's what
Or
they
maybe
really
just,
need.
CGI out, like, a scene from, like, one of the basketball games where he's playing, and then, like, something goes in him, and they just have, like, his upper body half going, like, shaking like Charles Barkley did. I don't know. But do you think the Monstar that's AD is going to have the unibrow?
I would be really disappointed if it doesn't.
Super funny.
If he doesn't, I will walk out of the theater.
He better have the unibrow.
It has
also,
to.
They have to have the same like montage scene of just LeBron dunking. Because if they don't, you're just ruining the movie. That's the best scene. But you can't play R. Kelly anymore.
Let's be real.
We can't do Fly Like an Eagle anymore. People are gonna be pissed.
Let's be real. They're gonna get like Kendrick or J. Cole to make the soundtrack.
That'd be great.
It would be. It would be
It'd
awesome.
Be the best part of the movie.
It will be.
Which means it's not gonna be a good movie.
No, it's not.
But who's even directing that movie? Is it like the guy who directs Fast and Furious? I'm just checking.
I hope not. But
hey, Fast and Furious movies are fine.
I don't even know. I don't even think I care.
Nance. I don't know who that is.
I don't think I care who directs this movie. It's gonna be bad.
What did he do? He's I don't know any of the movies he's done. Alrighty, well we'll see how it goes. It is release date of July 16th, 2021. So basically 2 years from now?
Right around when LeBron's ready to retire.
Get ready for it, folks. He's gonna go play baseball. Alrighty, well, that's Nugg Talk for this week. Please make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let us know what you guys want us to talk about, and we'll talk to you next week.
Bye.